Danko exploded to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and he used a system that most people completely miss. And in the last 4 days, I spent all that time breaking down one of his most viral videos. And what I found was not what I actually expected. And this is not a list of steps or tips, it's actually a playbook and a proven blueprint that can literally flip the game for you for your specific YouTube channel. And after applying just a few of these hacks on my own channels, I've already pulled in over 200,000 views. And if you're tired of guessing what works, this video is the shortcut you've been waiting for a long time. So without further ado, let's get into it. And in this video, we will cover the 12 core principles that allow his videos to go viral. And to find them, what I did is I analyzed one of his most viral videos on his YouTube channel. And we will not be just talking about those tactics. This video is literally a philosophy of communication for the attention economy. And it's not about get rich scheme or something, but we will be talking about the primal psychological triggers that turn passive viewers into devoted followers and followers into fanatics. So let's get started with the first core principle that you need to understand, which is transformational promise versus incremental improvement. And you may be thinking, what does that actually mean? So the first element of Dan Koh's viral success lies in the boldness of his central promise on his video. And if you read the title of this video, it says, "Get ahead of 99% of people." And this is not just an offer of improvement. It's actually a transformation of categorical superiority. And the human psychology is really wired to respond to social hierarchy or positioning, and we instinctively understand the difference between incremental gains and paradigm shifts. And when Dan positions his content not as a way to get somewhat better, but he positions his video as a path to categorical dominance. And he activates a motivational circuit. So, for you to understand the difference between those two things, let me give you an example. So, incremental improvements could be something like this: improve your productivity by 10%. And transformational promise could be something like leave 99% of competitors in the dust. The first one will appear to the rational mind, the parts that circulates margin gains. And the second one, which is about transformation, speaks to a very deep identity, the part that dreams of transcendence. And just knowing this principle is not actually enough. You actually need to know how to apply this principle. And in order to apply this principle, you must understand the ultimate aspiration of your audience. You can ask questions like, what is the ceiling of their ambition? What would represent not just improvements, but transformation in their own domain? For example, instead of saying, write better emails, you can promise email like a CEO. So the communication system, the CEO is a communication system that can command respect and action. Instead of saying improve your public speaking, you can say speak with the authority that makes rooms go silent. Instead of saying learn to manage your finances, you can promise build wealth that outlives you, the financial system of the top 1%. And the key here is to promise not just a better version of their current state, but entirely new category of existence. And your promise should create a clear delineation between their current identity and the aspirational self. And there's one thing that you need to remember. The most powerful promises, they're not about doing, they are becoming, they're about becoming. Let me tell you this, people are far more motivated by who they might become than by what they can achieve. Knowing who they want to become is way more powerful than knowing what they want to achieve. In this case, it was getting ahead of 99% of people is who they want to become. They want to get ahead of those people. And he's not saying improve your productivity by 10%. Improving your productivity by 10% is what they might achieve, but he's not telling it. He's actually telling who they might become, which is getting better, getting ahead of 99% of people. Now let's move on to the next thing, to the next principle, and that is the power of environmental congruence. So Dan's thumbnail, let me show it. So Dan's thumbnail and visual setup really show a powerful principle, which is environmental congruence. The dark, like minimal background, serious expression of Dan Cole, and cinematic lighting. They're not just aesthetic choices, they're actually embodiments of his message. And when your visual representation or presentation perfectly aligns with your message, then you create what psychologists call um, processing fluency. And that is the ease with which information can be absorbed and integrated. And this like sort of confidence creates an immediate subconscious sense of authenticity. Oh yeah. So you can consider the contradiction that might occur if Dan delivered his message about monk-like focus while sitting in a chaotic, colorful room that are filled with so many distractions. Imagine that for a second. The cognitive dissonance would undermine, would weaken his message before he spoken a word. And to apply this principle, first, you need to identify your core message. What fundamental value do you represent, or does your channel represent? Then translate it into visual language. How can your environment embody this value? And then eliminate contradictions. Remove any visual elements that create dissonance. And the final thing that you need to do is amplifying that congruence, amplifying that environmental congruence. You can strengthen visual elements that reinforce your message. For example, if you teach minimalism, your background should be intentional and sparse. And if you teach wealth building, your environment should convey quiet prosperity. It should not kind of represent flashy consumption. And if you teach creative thinking, your space might contain carefully curated objects that kind of represent or stimulate imagination. And the goal here is not to create a false impression, but ensure that your visual representation serves as an extension, an embodiment of your message. And this, my friend, creates a seamless experience for your audience of your channel, where every aspect of your presentation reinforces your core value proposition. Next up, let's talk about the paradox of length in this age of brevity. So if you look at Denko's video, it is 2 hours and 16 minutes. And at 2 hours and 60 minutes, Dan's video defies conventional wisdom about short attention spans. But this lens isn't a liability. Um, it's a strategic advantage for him. In this world of fleeting content, substantial depth really shows serious value, and the length of his video creates what economists call a signaling mechanisms. And then you invest significant time, so much time in creating that sort of really valuable long uh, video that will signal several important qualities. For example, it can signal depth of knowledge. You have enough expertise to sustain extended discourse. It can also show commitment to value. You're willing to provide comprehensive solutions, not just quick fixes. Next up, having those types of longer videos can bring respect for complexity. You acknowledge that meaningful transformation. Uh, yeah. And it also creates confidence in retention. You believe your content will hold the attention through merit, not gravity. And long form content also creates a selection effect. It filters for the most committed audience members. For example, in your channel, those who watch long form content, like it might be even 1 or 2 hours, those people are willing to invest significant time and in most cases money as well in their developments. And now let's talk about how you can leverage this principle and how you can use it to grow your own channel as well. So firstly, you can create content hierarchy. You can develop videos, you can create videos at multiple depth levels, from quick insights to even 1, 2, or even 4 hour comprehensive systems. And you can also ensure that your long form video justifies its length with sustained value. You shouldn't, some people might make a 5 hour video, but if it's filled with fluff, then it's useless. Also, use clear organization when you're making that type of long video so that you can show respect for for the time of your audience. You should also focus on information density rather than pattern. For example, a 3 hour master class on personal finance that covers every aspect of wealth building is a great example. Remember, the goal isn't length for its own sake, but what we want is appropriate depth for transformational value, and your video should be exactly as long as required to deliver complete understanding and implementation capability. No more, no less. Now, let's talk about the next principle that Denko used in order to get millions of views. And that is the power of worldview. That's philosophical depth. Danko does not just give offers tips. He constructs coherent philosophical frameworks, and he usually references psychology, neuroscience, and philosophy so that he can build comprehensive belief systems. And he doesn't want to uh, build isolated techniques that are irrelevant or unusable. And this philosophical approach creates so many great effects. So the first effect of it is foundational understanding. First, in some of his videos, he talks about the why. He wants his audience to grasp the why behind the what and how. And then he will talk about how to apply it in real life, in business. Uh, when people understand those principles, they can adapt techniques to changing circumstances. And philosophy becomes part of someone's worldview, not just something they do. And having those sorts of philosophical approach can also be important if you want to signal that you view your audience as intelligent partners and not as passive consumers. And when you elevate your video from tactics to philosophy, you transform your role from instructor to a mentor, and your impact from temporary to permanent. And you may be thinking, how can I actually use this principle of philosophical depth in my own videos? Well, there are so many ways of doing it. So the first way is by articulating first principles. What fundamental truth underline your area of expertise? And you can also ask a question that asks, how do abstract principles connect to one concrete application? Or you can ask yourself, how do all your ideas in your video interrelate? For example, instead of 5 ways to network, you can say the philosophy of human connection in a digital age. I'm not talking about the title of the video. I'm just talking about the messaging in a video. Now let's talk about the next principle that he uses, the paradox of length in an age of relativity. We've already talked about it. Becoming, not just doing. And that's a very, very important principle. Well, Dan Ko sells more than techniques. He literally tells transformation. As you saw in his video, he told how to get ahead of 99% of people. And that's a transformation. And his real offer isn't just learning about deep work. It's becoming the kind of person who embodies principle and focus, while others might fail and they might get distracted. And this taps into what psychologists know as identity-based motivation. Identity-based motivation is the powerful drive to align our actions with our desired self-image. And when your video connects to a certain identity, it moves from optional to essential, from interesting to imperative. Let's take an example. So the first one would be learn to write better. It's a skill, right? And the next one is become a skilled writer. Becoming a skilled writer is way more powerful because there is a motivational gap between those framings, and that motivational gap is huge. The second one, which is becoming a skilled writer, is someone who might become, right? It's what is who they want to become. It's not what they want to achieve. Next up, let's talk about the architecture of understanding. That's also a very, very important principle if you want to organize your content with clear structure. And Dan Ko organizes his videos in a very clear way, in a way that most humans can understand simply and really well. For example, Dan Ko uses principles, explanations, and applications while he's trying to explain the principle or framework. And this creates what cognitive scientists call scaffolded learning. And scaffolded learning is a structure which is progressive and it supports complex understanding. An effective organization of a video can have a lot of functions. So, number one, it can help your audience mentally organize information. It can also reduce cognitive load by creating the clear pathways. And you may be thinking, how can I actually use it in my own videos? Well, you can create clear hierarchies. For example, you can organize your video in logical levels. So firstly, you can talk about principles. Then you can move on to concepts. Then you can move on to applications. You can also use consistent patterns. You can maintain your specific structural consistency across all of your videos. And you can also have navigation signals. Navigation signals are clear transitions between specific chapters of your video. You can also create visual structure. You can use typography and design to reinforce organizational patterns. For example, uh, you can organize content in nested levels from big ideas to supporting concepts to specific applications. And there's one thing that you need to remember: the structure isn't just about organization, it's all about communication. The way you organize information conveys your thinking process and helps your audience construct mental models that persist long after specific details fade. Now let's talk about the psychology of anticipation. And Danko also uses this in his own videos. Danko creates powerful curiosity gaps, moments where he hints at specific insights without immediately revealing them. And these create what is really powerful. They create gaps between expected and actual information that drive attention and engagement. And the psychology behind all these curiosity gaps is fantastic. When a person anticipates new information, that will trigger dopamine release. And humans have a strong need to close cognitive loops. And when you create those effective curiosity gaps, you can literally make your videos, viewers of your videos, from passive consumption into active engagement. And your audience is not gonna just receive information, they will literally pursue that information. And you can use it in a lot of different ways. Firstly, you can promise valuable insights. You can hint at specific information that serves important problems. You can start with a problem, then reveal the solution, and then you can explain it. You can create unexpected contrasts. You can challenge conventional wisdom to trigger interest. You can also use strategic incompleteness. You can intentionally leave some gaps that create forward momentum. So, for example, most productivity advice focus on doing more, but the real secret is almost the opposite. That's the type of a curiosity gap, and Danko uses it a lot in his videos, mostly in the during the video. And there's one thing that you need to remember: curiosity gaps must be resolved with genuine value. Creating anticipation literally creates a psychological contract, and your audience invests attention with the expectation of valuable insight. And if you don't deliver on it, well, you will fail. And you might fail to deliver. If you fail to deliver on that expectation, then your audience will not trust you anymore. And in this attention economy, authenticity is not just about ethical principle, it's a strategic advantage. And when your video reflects your true expertise and perspective, you create not just views, but impact. Not just followers, but community. Not just content, but legacy. The path to digital influence is not found in tricks or tactics. It's actually found in the courage expression of valuable truth.